So I have rooftop carrier bars on my truck, and we're getting ready to go on a trip and bring a whole bunch of boats. I have a trailer for some, but I want to carry more on top of my truck. And one of the things you always want whenever you're car top carrying a bunch of kayaks, canoes, ladders, lumber, whatever it is, you want a place where you can secure stuff on the front of the vehicle. This is actually a very good safety thing because there's a lot of force of air flowing up over your windshield and hitting the front of that boat and trying to rip it right up off the roof. And so if it is tied down to the very front of the vehicle, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to hold that down. The other thing is, as the driver, you're going to have a rope going up here to whatever your object is. And if that rope moves or loses slack, you know something shifted on the roof, and it's a very good indication. I see people driving down the road all the time with their boats cockeyed, just about coming out of J-racks. I mean, it's not safe. And look around online, you will find out that these are dangerous. And they do go through people's windshields. They kill people. They injure and damage and cause major wrecks. So here's an easy way to make sure you're not one of the people that does that. Get your hood and find, in this case with the Maverick, there's a bolt right there and there's a bolt right there, and this will make it very easy to install some anchors that will be permanently on the vehicle but not permanently in view, only when you need them. So once you've located the bolts to use, I thought about using these, but these involve headlight adjustment. I don't want to deal with that. This is metal to metal, it's stronger, and sometimes I do have heavy stuff like extension ladders and things like that on the roof. Simply unbolt, and I've done this to every vehicle I've ever owned. I put a set of these on, and the nice thing is normally they're not in view because you can just fold them down when they're not in use. So there's your bolt. Then the next thing you're going to need is some strap. This is some nylon lashing strap. It is good and strong. I actually cut it off the end of one that I needed to make shorter for a particular use. And you're going to want to figure what a good length is so that it can be down here and up above the edge of the hood, but you don't want a ridiculously long flopping thing above the hood, so that's about a good length right there. So that right there, we now need to make a hole. And the way I like to do it, I have my gas grill, it's going, it's getting good and hot, and I have an old screwdriver that I don't care about anymore. It's a cheap one, got it probably from Walmart or Kmart or who knows what. And this, good source of heat, I'm going to hold that right down in the flame until that tip gets good and hot. And then test it. No, it's not ready to melt its way through yet. It's starting to melt though. Keep it there a little longer in the flame. If you have a soldering iron, that's another good thing to use. I just didn't have one handy. My grill was right here by the driveway, ready to go. A torch for soldering pipes. It's actually perfect. That's the best. A gas stove is another one that works really well. Even a cigarette lighter will do it, but it's going to be slow. Right, let's see if it's ready to melt its way through now. I can feel the heat coming off of this thing. Started to melt, but not enough yet. And you do want to do this in an outdoor area because, yes, these are melting plastic, and there's going to be some fumes and some stink. And not chemicals that are good to breathe. Let's see if it's ready to do it this time. And there we go. And you really don't want to make any bigger of a hole than that. In fact, if the two of them fuse together, that's not a bad thing either. You just want it big enough that you can force that bolt through both straps. And the fact that you melted this hole versus cutting it or drilling it will actually keep the ends from getting frayed, the edges from getting frayed, and actually make everything stronger. All right. This is fighting me, but we will get it. And what you want to end up with is that. Which you then, of course, will cut right here, because you don't need any extra length here. You don't want anything that can get down and, you know, get caught in moving parts of the engine. That's a very bad thing as well. The other thing you want to do is you want to melt these ends so that they can't come unfrayed as well. So there it is, all nice and melty and ready to reinstall. If you think these bolts, like this has a nice washer under the head, if it didn't have that, I would actually maybe put a bigger washer on there, but I'm really not worried because this has plenty. I actually like to turn them like that. So normally, when I don't need something, they're in like this, the hood's closed, nobody knows anything. But when I'm going somewhere with a boat, ladder, lumber, you name it, I got this and this. You can just about lift the front of the vehicle with. And just to show you what it looks like with the hood shut. There you go. This will not chafe the paint. I've driven this, like I said, I've had these on every vehicle I've owned. And I have put these, they have gone for many thousands of miles holding stuff on the roof for boats, going on camping trips and stuff. And it hasn't chafed the paint. Now if you drive with it flopping around, it's going to make little marks from fluffing in the wind. So that's where you definitely want to put it down underneath, out of sight, so it can't be seen. But there you go. Hood anchors. Now I know there are companies that sell you like a piece of rubber pipe that you put in there and you smush down. This is more solid than that. It will not pull out no matter what. And you can't forget it. You can't leave it somewhere. You can't, oh shoot, I'm getting a boat, I forgot to bring it with me. This way, it's always on the vehicle. And they're cheap and easy to install. And then, when you're all set, flop it down, hood shut, you're done. All set.